If it had been any other night, it might have been okay. But the fact that it was this night that Jim's boss decided to fire him just added to his already overwhelming anxiety and fear. In fact, the entire time the boss lectured and ranted, Jim sat appearing to listen when his mind was most definitely somewhere else. Thoughts about her, twisted fantasies and fears for his love seemed to be the only thing that ran through his mind ever since the day they first met. They were as perpetual as the beating of his heart, the thoughts that never left, the one thing that was always on his mind. When his boss was finally finished, Jim burst through the door and rushed to the bus stop, where the carriage he had arranged for was supposed to be waiting. The worries he felt when faced with an empty street are unexplainable, and Jim was about ready to give up. His hand snaked into his pocket and fiddled with a small box inside. No, he couldn't give up. This was his dream. This was his life. Meanwhile, a very disappointed Karen stood at a bus stop all by herself in cold downtown Chicago. Convinced her date, her love, had finally decided to ditch her, she began to somberly walk along home. She had been so sure that something amazing was going to happen that night that she even woke up with a nervous feeling in her stomach. Now, the only emotion that remained within her was a building disappointment that sunk from her stomach and now burned deep into her gut. Suddenly, she couldn't take it anymore and collapsed onto the bench. What went wrong? What did I do wrong? She yelled at the cloudy sky. A raindrop, like as of a tear, slowly slid down her face. As if on cue, a horse-drawn carriage turned the corner into sight, with an enormous bouquet of roses hiding Jim in the passenger seat. Jim climbed out and opened the door for Karen. "Sorry I'm late, honey," Jim offered, but Karen was speechless. Once they were both seated, Jim removed the box from his pocket. With shaking arms and unsteady legs, he clumsily knelt down on one knee and opened the box to reveal what seemed to Karen to be the most lustrous stone on the planet. Her eyes were lost in the colorful beams of light reflecting off the diamond, like a pool of her dearest memories bursting before her eyes. No words even needed to be said, and even if they did, Karen wasn't sure she would have been able to get them out. It was a perfect moment, the most perfect either of them had ever had, and suddenly, none of the night's previous events mattered, and the only thing they cared about was right beside them. Those horrible 3 hours of frustration blossomed into 17 years and counting of a new life for both of them, a new memory that would never be forgotten.